I think it's actually good news for tax reform, but what it did was basically signaled that President Trump no longer has faith in the Republican leadership, particularly Mitch McConnell, who let John McCain tube the Obamacare repeal over the summer. And so he thought, they can't possibly get everything done that needs to get done. I need some breathing room this fall for two reasons. One is the tax cut proposal. The president's made that his #1 domestic priority. That's our #1 priority at the Club for Growth. And this gives him 3 or 4 months to work that out. But the second, I think, was to continue funding so that the military would be funded if he gets into a military confrontation with North Korea. So those two things, I think the president reflected on it and said, I don't trust these Republican leaders to get the job done. I'll cut a deal that's a pretty good deal for me to get 3 months of breathing room and get everybody to focus on the tax cut bill.
So if you think it's a signal that the president doesn't trust the Republican leadership, how does that bode well for tax reform, which the so-called group of 6 has to work on together this fall?
Yeah, one thing the president needs to take into account is he'll never get to 60 votes for a tax cut bill, so he needs all the Republicans, and they need to pass a budget again to trigger that 50-vote margin in the Senate. That he is going to have to go back and work with the Republican leaders, but I think he kind of sent them a message. Look, if you guys screw up, I will work with the Democrats. So let's work together, Republicans, and get the tax cut bill done.
David, I wonder if you think it needed to be this stark. I mean, we had Ryan on TV calling this Pelosi-Schumer offer disgraceful, and then hours later, barely hours later, the president basically shakes hands on it. Did he need to humiliate the speaker that way?
You know, President Trump has his own style. It's not the way I would have done it, but it is the way he does it. He will humiliate people in public, and then he'll turn around and work with them to try to get a deal done. That's who he is, and everybody in Washington needs to get used to that.
David, I wonder if this 3-month window that's been bought by the apparent deal right now is really all that helpful when what we're dealing is with a math problem. I mean, essentially, you're still trying to find a way to get corporate rates low enough without blowing out the deficit so much, and trying to ask various factions of the Republican Party to make some hard trade-offs. So how exactly is that all going to help arrive at something comprehensive in just 3 months?
So I think the key is for Speaker Ryan and Leader McConnell to work with the conservatives. They're the ones that in the past have held out for even more in these bills. The good news is that Mark Meadows and Mike Lee, the leaders of the conservative factions, have signaled we're willing to work with you to get this tax bill through. So I think on that front they can get the numbers done. What they're going to have to give up is this slavish adherence to revenue neutral. They need to go ahead and just do tax cuts that will spur economic growth. Let the growth rate get up to 3%. That'll create more jobs, more economic prosperity, and more revenue for Washington. And so take a hit in the first few years, but recognize when they do those deep cuts in the corporate rate and some of the individual cuts, they will get the revenue back because of the economic growth.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.